Ready to unlock your hidden potential. We're doing a deep dive today into Adam Grant's book, Hidden Potential, exploring how to reach, greater heights.
Yeah.
Not just in terms of achievement, but in personal growth, too.
It's so fascinating how Grant challenges this whole idea that greatness is all about innate talent, right?
Right.
Like, he just flips the script and says, we often underestimate the power of those character skills, the ones we can actually learn.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit.
Yeah.
What kind of character skills are we even talking about here? And how do they actually have an impact on our success?
So think about things like proactivity, discipline,
Okay.
determination, and pro-social behavior, right?
Yeah.
It's that kind of stuff that helps us navigate all those tricky situations in life.
Mhm.
Not just, specific fields. It's like
Yeah.
across the board, kind of.
So it's not just about being, super brilliant or talented.
Right.
It's about having the right mindset and the skills to actually, make the most of your potential. Is that what you're saying?
That's it. Grant actually illustrates this with a really captivating story about the Raging Rooks. You familiar with them?
No. Tell me about him.
This chess team from Harlem, they really defied all expectations, you see.
Okay.
These kids, they came from underprivileged backgrounds, learned chess in, these unconventional settings,
Yeah.
yet they went on to compete against, elite private schools
Really?
in the National Junior High Chess Championships.
Wow, that's impressive. So they didn't just compete. They actually,
Yeah.
won against these privileged kids.
They didn't just compete, they excelled. They actually ended up beating the reigning champions, can you believe it?
Oh.
The ones from the Dalton School, like the prestigious Dalton School.
Wow.
And the key to their success, not just raw talent, no, it was the character skills, the ones instilled in them by their coach, Maurice Ashley.
Oh, wow.
The first black chess grandmaster, by the way.
I did not know that. Yeah, pretty amazing.
That's so cool. And this whole story about the Raging Rooks, just
Yeah.
it really highlights how crucial those character skills are, right?
Absolutely.
They were able to outperform these wealthier schools.
Yes.
Because their coach, he emphasized things like discipline and teamwork.
Exactly.
Skills that proved valuable, way beyond the chessboard,
For sure. For sure. One of the players, Charu Robinson, he even earned a scholarship to Dalton. Can you believe it?
Wow, so he went to the school that he...
After the tournament.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and later on, he earned a criminology degree, became a teacher, driven by this desire to give back to his community, It just shows how cultivating these character skills can empower individuals, right?
Yeah.
To overcome challenges, achieve success in all areas of life.
That's really inspiring. But is there, any actual research
Oh, yeah.
to back up this claim that character skills are that crucial?
Grant dives into research, right?
Shows that training entrepreneurs in West Africa
Okay.
on character skills
Mm-hmm.
actually boosted their business success more than traditional business skills training, way more.
That's really interesting.
The entrepreneurs who received character skills training, they saw significantly greater profits, business growth, the whole thing.
So it's not just about having a fantastic business idea,
Yep.
right? It's about having the grit and the resilience to really bring that idea to life.
That's it.
You've got to have the character skills to help you
Persevere
through challenges
with the setbacks.
and setbacks.
Exactly. And you know what else Grant challenges? This is a big one.
What's that?
The popular myth, that whole learning styles thing.
Wait, are you saying that the idea that
Right.
we learn best when information's presented in a way that aligns with our preferred style?
Yeah, that's the one.
Like visual, auditory, kinesthetic, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You're saying that's wrong.
Yeah, well, research shows that matching teaching to these preferred learning styles doesn't actually improve learning outcomes.
Really?
It's kind of mind-blowing.
It is. I've always thought I was a visual learner.
Yeah, a lot of people think that.
Yeah.
But the way we process information, it depends more on the nature of the task at hand
Okay.
than on our, inherent preferences.
So are you saying that even if I, think I'm a visual learner, I should still experiment with other methods,
Absolutely.
like listening or doing,
Yeah,
depending on what I'm trying to learn?
exactly. Grant brings up Steve Martin,
Oh, yeah.
famously hated writing.
Right.
But he embraced the discomfort of this non-preferred style, as you might call it, to become a better comedian and writer.
Wow, that's amazing.
He had to get concise, deliberate with his jokes.
Yeah.
Which ultimately strengthened his stand-up routines and even helped him launch a successful writing and acting career.
So he turned a perceived weakness into a strength.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. So what's the takeaway here for our listener?
Should we ditch the whole idea of learning styles?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
I think it's more about choosing the method that best suits the task.
Okay.
Rather than, relying on these perceived learning styles.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone. Try new approaches.
Right.
You might be surprised at what you discover.
Absolutely. Speaking of embracing discomfort,
Yeah.
Grant tells this amazing story about Benny Lewis. Are you familiar with him?
Vaguely.
A guy who taught himself over a dozen languages.
Wow.
He initially struggled with Spanish. Like, he thought he lacked the language gene, right?
Yeah, I've heard that one.
And then he discovered the power of flooding.
Oh, interesting.
Intentionally immersing yourself in those challenging situations. Like, he sought out those interactions.
With native speakers.
With native speakers, yeah.
Even if it meant making a ton of mistakes, he was willing to, stumble through conversations.
Wow.
And that's what accelerated his learning.
Wow, that takes guts.
It does.
It's like facing your fears head on, but in this like structured way
Right.
that allows you to, build confidence over time.
Absolutely.
Have you ever heard of systematic desensitization?
Yeah, vaguely.
It's a similar concept, right?
It is.
Where you gradually increase your exposure to something that you fear.
Right.
So whether it's learning a new language or, tackling a daunting task or overcoming a fear, the message is clear, right?
Yeah.
Lean into the discomfort.
That's where the growth is.
That's where the real growth happens.
Totally.
Okay, so now let's shift gears a bit
Sure.
and talk about the importance of being a proactive learner.
Okay.
Grant introduces us to Melody Hobson.
Okay.
Went from poverty to becoming this financial expert.
Wow.
And she attributes much of her success to this like sponge-like approach to learning, Like she was constantly seeking out knowledge.
Yeah.
Soaking up information from various sources, just, all over.
So this highlights that concept of absorptive capacity.
Okay.
The ability not just to absorb the information, but to recognize its value and apply it effectively.
Right.
Think of it like being a sponge.
Yeah.
You don't just soak up the water, you squeeze it out and use it to clean something.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
So it's not just about like passively consuming information. It's about
actively seeking it out. Processing it.
And finding ways to actually use it in a meaningful way, right?
Exactly. Grant contrasts Hobson's approach with this story of javelin thrower Ihab, who, despite being coachable, lacked that proactive drive to seek knowledge independently.
Interesting.
His progress plateaued
Right.
because he relied solely on external guidance.
So Ihab was coachable, but not a self-starter.
Yeah, kind of like the difference between being a passive recipient of information versus an active seeker of knowledge.
Exactly.
And Grant, he argues that this active pursuit is crucial for realizing our hidden potential.
Okay, but what about when we're actively seeking feedback?
Yeah.
But like, we might not be getting the guidance that we need.
He talks about his own experience early in his career, bombarded with criticism.
Really?
Instead of receiving constructive feedback.
Interesting.
And he felt demoralized, by the lack of useful advice, which just hindered his growth.
So it sounds like he had to shift his approach.
He did.
To feedback.
Yeah, he started asking a simple but powerful question like, what's one thing I can do better? And that's when he started receiving valuable insights.
Oh, he was able to turn that negative feedback loop
He did.
into a positive one by simply changing the way he asked for feedback.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
He also realized that seeking advice from multiple people, each offering their own unique perspective, painted a more complete picture of his strengths and areas for improvement.
Good.
Even tough feedback can be a gift, as long as it comes from a place of care and a desire to, to help us grow.
Right.
So it's up to us to be receptive to that feedback, to seek clarification and use it as fuel for our growth.
Absolutely. So Grant then introduces this concept of
Wabi-sabi.
wabi-sabi. Okay.
It's a Japanese philosophy that celebrates imperfection.
Okay.
He uses this example of architect Tadao Ando, who intentionally leaves imperfections in his concrete structures
Really?
to highlight the beauty of the raw materials.
It's about embracing the cracks and crevices,
Yeah.
seeing them as adding character rather than detracting from the overall beauty.
That's it. And this philosophy, it applies to personal growth, too.
So instead of getting like hung up on perfection, which can be paralyzing,
Right.
we should strive for excellence while accepting that, we're always a work in progress.
Exactly. Instead of fixating on perfection,
Yeah.
Grant, he advocates for setting specific, challenging goals
Okay.
that push us outside of our comfort zones, but are still, attainable.
Right.
He shares his own experience learning to dive, where he initially focused on achieving that perfect score,
Right.
but later shifted his focus to pushing his limits and celebrating those small wins along the way.
So it's about finding that sweet spot between
Flawed and flawless.
flawed and flawless, yeah.
Striving for excellence without getting bogged down by the pursuit of perfection.
Okay, and he applies this same idea
To our passion.
to our passions, yeah.
He contrasts obsessive compulsion,
Right.
where we're driven by external pressure and a fear of failure,
Right.
and harmonious passion.
And I'm guessing harmonious passion is the healthier approach.
Absolutely. Harmonious passion, it's about finding joy in the process,
Okay.
regardless of the outcome. It's about, cultivating that intrinsic motivation that fuels our persistence
Right.
and helps us achieve greater things.
So it's like the difference between feeling like pressure to succeed and genuinely loving what you do.
Exactly. And to further cultivate harmonious passion, Grant introduces this concept of deliberate play.
Deliberate play. That sounds kind of fun.
It is. It is.
Like a fun way to learn?
Yeah, it's a structured approach to skill development
Okay.
that combines deliberate practice with the enjoyment of free play.
Okay.
Think of it as finding that balance between focused effort and playful exploration, which can make learning more engaging and sustainable.
So it's like you're finding ways to make learning fun
That's it.
and enjoyable, but while still challenging yourself to grow and improve.
Absolutely. Think about Stephen Curry's unique training regimen.
Okay.
It involves these drills disguised as games,
Oh, that's
helps him hone his skills while staying motivated.
Right.
Right. Right.
Or the use of improvisational comedy in medical schools
Oh, wow.
to help future doctors develop their communication and observation skills. Even music and language learning. They can incorporate, elements of play to enhance engagement and enjoyment.
Yeah. So it seems like finding ways to make learning fun
Yeah.
is really a key to unlocking our potential and staying motivated in the long run.
For sure. It's about, tapping into that childlike curiosity and love of exploration that can fuel our growth.
Throughout our lives.
Absolutely.
Now, Grant takes us back to the story of the Golden 13.
Oh, yeah.
The first Black U.S. Navy officers.
Remarkable individuals.
Yeah, these individuals faced, immense prejudice and skepticism, right?
Absolutely.
During their training.
Despite limited support from their superiors,
Yeah.
they found strength in their shared mission and their unwavering commitment to each other.
They formed study groups.
Okay.
Recognizing that their best chance of success lay in collaborating
Right.
and leveraging each other's strengths.
This reminds me of the concept of the tutor effect.
Yeah.
The idea that teaching what we want to learn actually reinforces our own understanding and boosts our memory.
Oh, interesting.
Like by explaining concepts to others,
right.
we're essentially solidifying our own grasp of those concepts,
It's like you learn it twice.
Yeah, exactly.
When
you teach it. Yeah, and Grant also highlights the coach effect.
Okay.
Where giving advice to others can actually increase our own motivation and confidence.
Makes sense.
Right. Like by helping others overcome challenges, we gain a stronger belief in our own ability to do the same.
It's empowering.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
But what about when we face low expectations from others? Can those hold us back?
That's where the Gollum effect comes in. Have you heard of that?
No, tell me about it.
It's when low expectations from from others can actually make you perform worse.
Oh, interesting.
Like a self-fulfilling prophecy,
Yeah.
where if people don't believe in you, you start to doubt yourself, and it impacts your performance.
Right, but can we ever turn those low expectations into like a positive thing?
Oh, absolutely. Grant shares this inspiring story of Alison Levine,
Okay.
who climbed Mount Everest,
Wow.
despite being told that she was too small to succeed.
Jeez.
She used the naysayers' doubts as fuel,
Wow.
pushing herself harder to prove them wrong.
It's like those doubts became a source of motivation for her.
Yeah, pushing her to achieve even greater things.
That's incredible.
And we see the same dynamic with the Golden 13.
Right.
They harnessed those low expectations to fuel their determination. They were determined to succeed, not just for themselves, but to prove those doubters wrong.
Right.
And pave the way for others.
It's a testament to the power of resilience,
It is.
and the importance of having that strong sense of purpose.
I agree.
But Grant emphasizes the importance of creating systems that provide opportunities for everyone to reach their potential, regardless of their background or their circumstances.
He argues that access to opportunity it's often unequally distributed.
Yeah, I mean, kids from wealthy families often have a significant advantage
For sure.
when it comes to things like innovation and career paths.
He cites research by economist Raj Chetty, you know him.
I've heard of him, yeah.
Found that children from families in the top 1% of income are 10 times more likely to become inventors than children from families below the median income.
That's crazy.
This suggests that talent and potential, they exist across all socioeconomic backgrounds, right? But access to resources and opportunities, that can make a huge difference in whether that potential is realized.
That's a pretty stark reality.
It is.
So what does Grant suggest that we do to level the playing field and give everyone a fair shot at success?
He advocates for building these systems of opportunity that recognize and nurture potential in everyone. This includes admissions and hiring processes that look beyond traditional metrics like,
grades and resumes.
Grades and resumes, exactly.
And instead, we should be focusing on
identifying hidden potential.
So looking beyond just the numbers.
Yeah.
And considering an individual's unique skills and experiences and their potential for growth, and he also advocates for team and organizational structures.
Yes.
That encourage bottom-up ideas.
Absolutely.
And give everyone a voice.
Regardless of their position.
Regardless of their position.
Yeah.
And he highlights the importance of school systems that provide, personalized support.
Yes.
And foster a love of learning, right?
That's key.
Rather than just focusing on, standardized tests. And rote memorization.
It sounds like he's calling for a complete, overhaul of how we think about talent, success, and opportunity.
I think he is.
Yeah.
He believes that by creating these systems that nurture and cultivate potential, we can unlock this vast well of talent.
Absolutely.
Ingenuity that might otherwise go untapped.
Yeah, and he points to Finland as a prime example of a country that has successfully implemented many of these ideas.
Finland. What's so special about their approach?
Grant was particularly struck by Finland's approach to early childhood education, which emphasizes play-based learning and individualized support.
Oh, that's interesting.
He describes visiting a Finnish kindergarten where children spend most of their time engaged in free play, exploration, and creative activities.
That sounds like a much more enjoyable way to learn.
It does.
Than the traditional drill and kill approach.
Definitely.
What many of us experience.
And it seems to be paying off for them,
Yeah.
Finnish students consistently rank among the top performers in these international assessments, like PS.
Okay.
While also reporting, high levels of well-being and life satisfaction.
So it's not just about achieving high scores. It's about creating an educational system that fosters a love of learning.
Absolutely.
And supports students' overall development.
That's it.
That makes
sense. And this focus on well-being.
Yeah.
It's reflected in their teacher training programs too.
Oh, okay.
Teachers in Finland, they're highly respected professionals with a lot of autonomy in the classroom. They're trusted to use their judgment to create engaging learning experiences that meet the individual needs of their students.
It makes sense. I mean, when teachers feel valued and empowered,
Yeah.
they're more likely to be passionate and effective in their roles.
Absolutely. And this approach seems to be working, you know?
Yeah.
Finnish teachers, they report high levels of job satisfaction.
Right.
And their students, they consistently perform well academically.
Wow. So it's a system that benefits everyone.
It really does.
It's inspiring to hear about a country that's getting it right when it comes to education.
I agree.
Hopefully other countries can learn from their example.
Yeah.
And start prioritizing both, academic rigor and student well-being.
Absolutely.
So now let's talk about the power of collective intelligence.
Okay.
Grant, he dives into the idea that groups can be smarter than even their most brilliant members when they work together effectively.
Absolutely. This is where those pro-social skills come into play again.
Okay.
Grant's research shows that the smartest teams, they aren't necessarily the ones with the highest individual IQs.
Right.
It's the teams with strong pro-social skills,
Right.
where members, they excel at collaborating, communicating, and supporting each other that consistently outperform the rest.
So it's not about having a team of lone geniuses. It's about having a team that can leverage each other's strengths and work together cohesively.
Right, but how do we make sure that everyone's voice is heard and that the best ideas rise to the top?
Yeah, how do we do that?
That's where we need to move beyond that babble effect.
Babble effect.
The tendency to perceive people who talk the most as being the most competent, even if they're not.
Oh, interesting.
So we need to create an environment where everyone feels comfortable contributing their ideas and where we prioritize quality over quantity.
Right. So it's about creating this culture of
psychological safety.
Psychological safety, where everyone feels valued and respected
regardless of their
position or personality. And that's where the power of yes and thinking comes in.
Yes and.
Yeah, it's this improvisational comedy technique that can be incredibly effective for unlocking creativity and innovation in any setting.
So instead of immediately shutting down ideas with a no or a but, we start by acknowledging and building upon each other's suggestions.
Exactly. It's about creating a more inclusive and collaborative environment where everyone feels heard and valued.
Absolutely.
Grant, he shares the example of the Chilean mine rescue.
Oh, yeah.
Where leaders, they created this lattice system to encourage ideas from all levels.
Can you explain what a lattice system is and how it worked in this situation?
A lattice system, it's a structure that allows for multiple pathways to the top.
As opposed to a traditional hierarchy,
Right.
In the Chilean mine rescue, it encouraged this communication and collaboration across different levels.
Okay.
And ultimately, a suggestion from a young engineer who wasn't even part of the main rescue team led to the successful rescue of all 33 trapped miners.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It just shows how breaking down hierarchical barriers and embracing diverse perspective can lead to extraordinary outcomes.
I agree. And Grant, he argues that this yes and approach, it can be applied in organizations, teams, and even our personal lives.
Right.
It's about creating systems that encourage collaboration, value diverse perspectives, and foster a culture of open-mindedness.
That makes sense.
Now let's shift gears and talk about how we can better recognize and cultivate hidden potential in others, especially during that hiring process.
Yeah.
Grant, he argues that traditional job interviews, with their reliance on resumes, credentials, and past experiences, can often miss out on talented individuals.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how those traditional metrics don't always paint a complete picture of a person's abilities or their potential for growth.
Absolutely.
And they can also, disadvantage people from underrepresented backgrounds who may not have had the same opportunities.
Exactly. Grant, he advocates for moving away from these traditional, often biased hiring practices, and adopting methods that focus on identifying a person's character skills, their potential for learning and growth, and their alignment with the organization's value
on their mission.
And a mission,
So instead of just looking at what what someone has done in the past.
Right.
We should focus on what they're capable of achieving
In the future.
in the future.
Yeah.
What are some of the alternative methods that he suggests?
He highlights the use of work samples,
Okay.
which provide a more direct assessment of a person's skills and abilities, as well as structured behavioral interviews that focus on past behaviors and how they relate to the specific requirements of the job.
So it's about looking beyond the surface and creating a hiring process that gives everyone a fair shot at demonstrating their abilities and potential.
Exactly. And Grant, he emphasizes that this isn't just about, fairness or social justice. It's also about maximizing that talent, that innovation within our organizations and society as a whole, right?
It makes sense, right? When we create this more inclusive and equitable hiring process, we open ourselves up to a wider pool of talent, increase those chances of finding the best person for the job.
Absolutely. Now, on a more personal level, Grant also talks about challenging our own, those self-limiting beliefs and embracing our hidden potential.
This reminds me of that Gollum effect we discussed earlier, where low expectations from others can actually hinder our performance. But what about those low expectations that we sometimes place on ourselves?
Those can be even more damaging. Grant, he shares his own experience of feeling like an imposter when he first arrived at Harvard,
Really?
He doubted his intellectual abilities and feared being exposed as a fraud, especially after failing that mandatory writing exam, like during his first week on campus.
That's surprising to hear. He's a renowned author, a professor at Wharton. It's hard to imagine him ever feeling like an imposter.
I think we all struggle with self-doubt from time to time, even those who seem to have it all figured out.
Yeah, that's true. What helped him to overcome those feelings of inadequacy and achieve success?
Well, it was a combination of, hard work, perseverance, and a willingness to embrace his unique talents and interests. He had this chance encounter with a Harvard law professor who had interviewed him for admission, and the professor revealed that what stood out during his interview wasn't his academic achievement.
Oh, interesting.
But his passion for magic.
He had mentioned magic as a hobby.
He had.
During his interview.
Yeah, and it was that passion, that willingness to step outside his comfort zone, and showcase his unique abilities that made him memorable and ultimately helped him succeed. It's a reminder that our passions and our unique experiences can often be our greatest assets,
Right.
even if they don't fit the conventional definition of success or intelligence.
That's a powerful message. We should embrace those things that make us unique.
Absolutely.
And use them to our advantage rather than trying to fit into a mold that doesn't quite suit us.
Now, shifting back to a broader perspective, Grant also emphasizes the importance of creating systems that foster opportunity and collective intelligence on a larger scale. He challenges us to think about how we can design these systems that nurture potential and encourage collaboration and innovation, not just in the workplace, but in all areas of society.
It's a call to action, isn't it? It's about recognizing that we all have a role to play in creating a more equitable and just world where everyone has the opportunity to reach their full potential.
Exactly. And it starts with challenging our assumptions, being open to new ideas and working together to create systems that benefit everyone, not just a select few.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Adam Grant's hidden potential, what are some key takeaways that our listener can apply to their own life?
Well, we've covered a lot of ground, but I'd say some of the most important takeaways are first, recognizing and nurturing those essential character skills that drive success in all areas of life.
Mm-hmm.
Second, embracing discomfort and challenging ourselves to step outside of our comfort zones as that's where true growth happens.
Right.
Third, creating systems that foster opportunity and collective intelligence, whether it's in our workplaces, our communities, or even our own personal lives.
Right.
And finally, believing in ourselves and others.
Yes.
Recognizing that we all have this hidden potential waiting to be unlocked.
I think those are valuable lessons that we can all take to heart.
Mm-hmm.
It's about shifting our mindset, challenging those assumptions, and creating a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
Yeah, it's It's been really insightful, this whole journey exploring these concepts from Adam Grant's Hidden Potential.
Mm-hmm.
Really makes you think about all that untapped potential,
Yeah.
that exists within each of us, and how we can create systems that allow that potential to, like, really flourish.
Absolutely. It's been eye-opening for me too. To learn about these different approaches to education, to hiring, to leadership,
Mm-hmm.
that challenge those traditional norms and really prioritize the development of hidden potential.
And speaking of challenging those norms,
Yeah.
one thing that really stuck with me was Grant's discussion of the power of dreams and
Yeah.
the importance of believing in ourselves even when we're faced with doubt or adversity.
He shares a really personal story, actually,
He does.
about his own journey
Yes.
of overcoming self-doubt
Yeah.
and achieving success as a writer.
It's inspiring to see how even someone as accomplished as Adam Grant
Yeah.
has faced those internal struggles.
What was it that helped him overcome those feelings of inadequacy and achieve success?
Well, it was a combination of things, hard work, perseverance, and a willingness to embrace his unique talents and interests. He had this chance encounter with a Harvard law professor who had interviewed him for admission,
Right.
and the professor revealed that what had stood out during his interview wasn't his academic achievements, but his passion for magic.
He had mentioned magic.
He had during his interview
as a hobby.
Yeah, and it was that passion, that willingness to step outside his comfort zone and showcase those unique abilities that made him memorable and ultimately helped him succeed.
That's interesting.
It's a reminder that our passions and unique experiences can often be our greatest assets, even if they don't fit that conventional definition of success or intelligence.
That's a powerful message.
Yeah.
We should embrace those things that make us unique
Absolutely.
and use them to our advantage.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to fit into a mold that doesn't quite suit us.
And sometimes, those dreams might take longer to realize than we expect. Grant highlights the story of Jose Hernandez, who dreamed of becoming an astronaut since he was a child.
Oh, wow. And what kept him going all those years?
He had this clear vision of what he wanted to achieve, and then an unwavering belief in himself.
So inspiring.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a story that shows us that anything is possible if we set our minds to it and never give up.
I agree.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into hidden potential, what are some key takeaways that our listener can apply to their own life?
I'd say the biggest takeaway is this. Everyone has hidden potential, but it's up to us to unlock it.
Mm-hmm.
This means cultivating those character skills that drive success, embracing discomfort, and those challenges as opportunities for growth, and believing in ourselves even when faced with self-doubt or adversity.
And it's also about creating systems that foster opportunity and collective intelligence, right?
Absolutely.
Systems that allow everyone to contribute their unique talents and perspectives to make the world a better place.
It's about shifting our mindset, from a focus on individual achievement to a recognition of our interconnectedness and the power of collaboration.
Yeah.
It's about creating a world where everyone has the opportunity to shine.
What a powerful message to end on.
Yeah.
So if you're inspired to learn more about these ideas and discover those practical strategies for unlocking your own hidden potential and creating a more equitable and just world, we highly recommend checking out Adam Grant's book, Hidden Potential.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's a thought-provoking and inspiring read that will challenge your assumptions, spark your curiosity, and leave you with a renewed sense of possibility.
Until next time, keep diving deep, keep exploring, and keep unlocking those hidden gems,
Within yourselves.
within yourselves.
And those around you.
Absolutely.